are starting off with a lovely topic because so many people constantly ask us how our marriage got here with everything that we dealt with in the past. And if you want to know about our marriage, our relationship life, go back and watch the YouTubes because it's a lot to unpack in just a single episode. Exactly. But we really wanted to share with you guys how we were able to become in sync, which is the name of this episode today. So, yeah.
There's really no way to wrap it up. You know what I mean? Like, everybody looks for this one definite answer. Or is it love? Is it this? Is it the credit? Is it money? So there's no easy way. I don't have one specific word, but I do know that I think, shared common goals, or as far as like in our individual life, what we wanted to accomplish is just kind of matched up. So being around each other was easier.
Yeah. And
just from that base or that foundation, we were able to get through the bullshit.
Yeah.
Because it was like, okay, at least we can come back to this. Oh, friendship. At the end of the day, that's what it was.
So, yes.
Go ahead.
So, go ahead. No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
I solely believe, like, it is a requirement, y'all. Mm-hmm. If you want to get married, y'all got to be friends first. You have to be.
Yes.
And it's hard to say, especially, like, when you meet up and it's intentional that this is a date. You've skipped all of the steps at that point. To me, at least. You know, so for some people, it's worked out. You married and y'all 16 years in. Okay, cool. I'm glad that worked. But in some point, in some form of fashion, y'all synced on a friendship level before y'all got intimate.
Right. Because there was something that attracted you to that human being. Like, correct. It probably, and to be fair, some people are attracted by flesh, the way that somebody looks, their outer appearance, their body shape, their Coke bottle bodies, and all of those things. Yeah, but if you're intentional in trying to find like love and really define that for yourself, you look at potentials a little bit differently. And I think for us, we had that very beautiful benefit of meeting in high school, because we were able to not only develop a friendship, but our friendship actually evolved over time quicker than our relationship did.
Yeah.
Because we learned how to depend on each other differently. Because there were times where we were operating as friends and not as boyfriend and girlfriend. There were times where we were vouching for each other as friends and not boyfriend and girlfriend, or protecting each other as friends and not boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, when it's your boyfriend or your girlfriend, you know, there's a certain level of protection that you want to do.
Yeah.
Meaning you're doing it because, you know, you love them in an intimate way. You want to protect them, you know, as far as the boyfriend, you want to protect your girl as sometimes an ego trip. Like, nah, this is my girl. You're not going to talk to her like that. But when it's your friend, and I mean that friend, that ride or die friend, that if somebody steps to my friend, I'm going to jail tonight.
Yeah.
Like, we had to develop that. Like, it was like that for us. Like, nah, bro. If I don't care how big the dude was, you swinging on him, you finna swing on me too, because I'm gonna swing on you.
I'm the only one that can talk to her like that.
Exactly.
Like, so we hit it off like that. So much so, like, we don't even remember. It just kind of happened. I saw her on the first day of high school. No, I wasn't in love or nothing. But
yes, you were.
To be honest, I thought, I tell this story all the time. Y'all can go back and listen. I thought you were slow because in that class for the seniors to, you know, pass, they had to take that final elective. Ain't nobody taking art on purpose as a senior. So I thought you was just another one because you look so much older. I ain't never seen nobody look like that. You look like something from the Barbados at that time. I'm in a small town and just see this, you know, caramel girl just walk in with all this essence. You ain't have to say nothing. But I saw the dimples. Gosh. And I think the dimples would intrigue me. Like,
I think that intrigued everybody. Like, it was so wild walking into that art class because everybody was looking at me like,
yeah, you was like the last one to get in there.
And I'm like, y'all ain't never seen a nigga before? Like, why are y'all looking at me like that? And I think it was the dimples. I think nobody had seen, or like in person, dimples that deep. Like, at the time, it was like, whoa. I think I was one in like the 2% of people that had dimples at the school.
Right around the time ATL came out too.
Yeah, it was, you know, it was a lot. So I think I kind of got into like the popular crowd because I was the chick with dimples, and then Our freshman year was the year where we got the most Jamaicans and Guyanese people. It was like Caribbean Central, and everybody was from New York.
Yeah, all at
so
once.
Yes, so it was literally like, it was lit our freshman year because it was Caribbeans from New York. Like, all the upperclassmen were Caribbeans from New York. Kid you not. It was intense, but because I looked older and because I was am Caribbean, it was easier to be accepted into those crowds. So yeah, everybody just had this assumption that I was older, but I wasn't.
It was fine, girl.
Whatever. But back on topic. Yeah, I don't remember how we became friends. I really don't. But I do remember that first day of school, and then from there it seemed like we did a time leap.
I know.
And it became like Britnee and Dorian.
It was 10th grade and we were inseparable out of nowhere.
Even in there were some moments in 9th grade where we would be like, hey, whatever. Like, it was very, if we saw each other, like, we weren't going out of our way. But then from 9th grade to 10th grade, it was like night and day. Like, 10th grade, we were like Britnee and Dorian. Like, everybody knew who Britnee and Dorian was. And it's like, how did we get here?
But to be fair,
I don't remember.
We had a lot of classes together.
We did.
So
that
unintentionally, we just continued to see each other, but not even think of nothing. Because I mean, you take the same classes with a lot of different people throughout the high school. Like, they're not just you, but other people. I had the same 2-3 classes all through high school. So for you to stand out of the crowd is just like, damn, how did that still happen? Because even though it's a coincidence, it's still like y'all had to be somewhat of intentional to do that.
Boy, they tried hard. Senior year, they separated us, y'all. Like, I still feel salty about that. Like, y'all waited until our last year. And I think the problem was they knew we was finna cut up. They already knew. It was like, nah, we can't put them, because they cut up all these 3 years.
All the teachers said something about these two.
No. They sitting here being lovey-dovey in class. They sneaking out. Nope. These two, we got to separate them. So they separate us. And ironically, we got the closest senior year because we had to be intentional about connecting.
Wow.
We had to be intentional about meeting up. Like, we was doing hallway meetups. Like, okay, so you finna go to the bathroom? I bet. So let's go to the bathroom. So he would go to the bathroom and I would meet him in the building that he was going to, because he was a baby kid, y'all. So he didn't have that much extension, like that much like string that the teachers gave him or administration. But I worked in the principal's office. I worked for the administration. That was, we're not gonna talk about that. I had a rough childhood, y'all. But I worked in the principal's office. I worked for administration. I worked in the offices, the printing office. Like, I did all of that. So I was very well known with this in the school, not only with my peers, younger and older and upperclassmen that graduated, but I was also known in the administration. So I was allowed to do things that a lot of kids weren't. I was allowed to look at files and things that because I worked in the office.
You should have changed my grades.
Don't do that. But I could float around to different buildings and I could be outside of the class for like 20 minutes at a time and the teachers wouldn't say anything to me, not because, I was put on a pedestal to other kids, but it's like, she probably got caught up doing something, like somebody saw her in the hall, oh, can you help me with this? So I never got looked at. Pet. But I was a teacher's pet. I was a principal's pet too. God. But Dorian, on the other hand, it was like, okay, we got 5 minutes to make this happen because they already put on a timer for me to bring my black ass back. But we were intentional about our relationship, our friendship.
Both in relationships, separate relationships.
In high school, yes, like
whole time.
It was bad, and I feel so bad, y'all. I feel really bad for the last girl that he dated before me and him started talking, and the reason being is because that is a whole story in itself. We're not gonna get into that because we ain't got time. But I felt really bad because she did not go to the school. She was at another school, which we're not gonna talk about that either, because that's the moral of the story is she went to a school where baby kids go. Okay, she came to this school. Don't sip that water. Don't sip that water. But she transferred into the school. So when she transferred into the school, it was like we had to abruptly stop our relationship. And the reason being, it wasn't that we were doing anything crazy. Of course we were kissing, that just was inevitable. But he was walking me to the bus every day. every single day. And his bus was the first bus, and my bus was damn near the last bus. So it was like, hey, if your bus takes off, like there is no them stopping. Like they
first.
Yes, like his bus was literally the first bus in the line, and they took off first, and then mine was way in the back. Like you had to run to get to. He ran.
Went to a 5A school. Like, we had to.
He hiked and ran to get to his bus. As soon as the buses started up, he was running, but he made sure that I got to my bus every day.
I'm gonna pee on myself every time, like, because my mama ain't finna come get me
at all. So when she came to the school like that, we had that last day. Like, this is our last day for me to walk you to the bus. And I was like, okay. And everything shifted. And in that moment, I was like, he's had girlfriends before. He, whatever. They didn't go to the school. Some of them did. And I was like, whatever. But this particular girl did it for me. Like, she put me in a headspace where I was like, holy shit, I might lose my man today. This might be the one that literally separates him from me. And it was because he had her picture on his phone, and she was just really his focus. Like he completely pivoted our relationship to make sure that she felt comfortable. And I was like, I don't like that. I need to see who this is. So when she came to school the next day, he had been for a whole week, y'all. I don't even think you remember this, but for a whole week, he was dodging me. For a whole week, he was purposely not making eye contact with me. Mind you, we had classes together. So he was blatantly like, when we got out of the class, he was not talking to me. When he was around her, I was like, oh, I finally figured out which girl it is. Because anytime he got around her friends were near her. But I figured out who she was because anytime he got around me, she would look at me. Mind you, I wasn't looking at her, I was looking at him. And I finally put two and two together. I was like, oh.
Oh, that's wild.
Okay. Noted. So then as time progressed, I think, I started dating a football player. I did. I started dating a football player. And what was crazy
spiteful.
it wasn't intentionally spiteful, but it was like spiteful. What had happened was we were both sitting behind each other on one side, me and the guy that I dated that was on the football team. And if you know us and you know me, there was no reason for me to date him at all. It would have been perceived as 100% spiteful because he was not my type. He was 4'0" and I'm towering over him. And I was very vain and very petty back in the day. Like, you couldn't have no pimples dating me. You couldn't be short dating me because if we were going to the dance, I had to wear heels. I wasn't going out there wearing flats, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, no, you have to meet the criteria. And my mom was petty. She had a standard. She was like, don't be bringing no busted booger in here. He can't be no cute dummy. So he was to fill a void at the moment. Okay. It wasn't because of Dorian. It was because the guy that I was dating at the time, he was too good to be true. And I was like, let me pull away to make sure this is really what I want and not something that my mom forced me to get into because she did. Let me make sure this is really the guy that I want to be with. And so I dated the football player. I broke up with the guy that I was with for a year and some change. I was bad. I was bad. I broke up with him, got with this football player literally the day after. And he fell in love. Like, off rip, he was already saying, I love you. Day one. I was like, yo, I just learned your name yesterday, so chill out. Because me and this guy, this football player I was running around with his number painted on me. Like, I was full school spirit for my man. That was my man. Dorian didn't like that. He didn't like that at all. When I tell you he pulled back from that girl real quick, he was like, nah, I'm finna lose my girl. So he pulled back completely, and there started to be turmoil in their relationship. And I'm not going to go into details, but the moral of the story is she ain't take my man. He was my man. You hear me? I was like, woo, saved by jealousy. Thank you, guys.
Wow.
Listen, I had to let it be known. But y'all, we really did work hard on our friendship. Like, we did. And then we started playing the tit for tat game for a while.
Yeah.
And then
it evolved beautifully though.
It
had to test the waters. Unfortunately, every relationship has to.
It did.
But it was
it
was a movie.
It got heavy in college, y'all.
Oh yeah.
We're not gonna talk about that, but it got
that's a whole season.
Yeah, it got really trying in college. But high school was lit. We had our moments where we would sneak during like what was that, homecoming?
Yeah.
Homecoming.
Oh yeah.
His girlfriend almost caught us at the time. A few times
Literally
during homecoming.
Popped up.
I mean, it sucked because he was so tall. He had on a yellow shirt, so you could see him. Even though it was dark, you could see him. So every time we tried to like sneak and be around each other, maybe get that little kiss in, she would randomly pop up like, "Hi!" Time out. You can't be doing that because we almost got in trouble. So we would have to literally turn our back to each other and pretend like we weren't just talking. And it just got to a point where it started to be too much. Y'all just had to be there. It was one of those you had to be there because boy, we were working that system. At a point, he was running from her, bruh. He was like, every time I try to fucking talk to you, she pop up. Bruh. It was bad. And we're not talking about her because, to be very fair, I genuinely feel bad. I genuinely feel bad that she didn't get to have him the way that she anticipated because of our relationship. And she didn't know. She I'm sure knew of me, but she didn't know the environment she was walking into when she got into the same school as me. It's different when you hear about, oh, my man has a female best friend, and then you start being around them and you're like, nah. They got chemistry best friend. They slick might be smacking cheeks best friend. Like, no. And we weren't sleeping together, but you would have sworn that he popped the cherry. Like,
oh, that's a whole nother story in itself. Well, not really. To be honest, where the seed got planted was in 10th grade.
Yes.
I told Britney I'm taking her virginity. I told her.
He did.
And straight walked off like a G. Not even realizing what I was doing or saying.
But we were in the A building.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow. What?
He was dead serious. He was like, oh yeah, I'll be your first. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And then as time evolved, he was like, oh, you're my wife. And I was like, yeah, okay.
Oh yeah, I was calling you wife.
I was like,
you ain't been wifey in my phone for so long.
I was like, boy, you lost it. Like, you tripping. And yeah.
Now my name's tatted on there red.
You know? So that manifestation became a thing. But to be very honest with y'all, like we became in sync when we became intentional about our relationship. We became intentional about our friendship. We became intentional about breaking through barriers, our childhood traumas. We were very intentional. Like, at a point, we talked a lot about it on the first podcast episode, how the transition of our marriage happened and our relationship as in general, but we became in sync. We think the same things sometimes at the same time. We'll say the same things at the same time. We'll get up and do something at the same time. Like, what were you about to do? I was about to, oh shit, me too. Yep. Like, we were always in sync, and I'm pretty positive that it was because we reached a point where, we started to align now, without getting too deep into the conversation, because I have made it very clear that I will never discuss this topic. I don't care. I don't care if Oprah asks me. I'm not having a conversation. I'll walk off set. Like, I will never discuss my spirituality or my beliefs. And it's not because I'm ashamed of it. It's not because it's a big grand secret. It's because, no offense to human beings, there are some people that won't get it. There are some, and I'm not in the business of defending what I believe. I'm not in the business of trying to evangelize on what I believe, nor am I in the business of discussing my beliefs and you taking that filter to think that I'm trying to convert you, because I'm not.
Yeah, correct.
And we just don't discuss our beliefs for that reason. But the one moment that I can say really pivoted our marriage was when we sat down and I was like, okay, so I have a theory, and I have been talking about this for a really, really long time with him, and I was giving him doses. And I have a very different belief than most people. And when I say most people, I mean 95% of the world, which means I am in the 5% of people that think this way. And those are also the 5% of people that run this world. Let's just be real. But because of me being in that 5%, it's very difficult for me to trust other people with what I believe when it comes to God, spirituality, and things of that sort. So over the years, it probably has been about 5 years now that I've been just dropping little things. And when I did it to my friends, they overreacted and I pulled back completely. I was like, I'm never having that conversation. Yeah. We're never busting open that can of worms because you've already shown me that you can't even handle this is like negative 2% of what I believe. And you can't even handle that. So I finally, in this moment, was like, okay, so I have to tell you this belief because he said something. I was like, okay, so what do you think about this? And then he said, so I've been feeling that way most of my life. And I was like, okay, tell me more. So this was probably not even 6 months ago. This was probably maybe 4 months ago. And that was the pivot in our marriage because
we never discussed it to that manner. We just kind of accepted, oh, you went to church, I went to church. Yes. Let's continue this and bring our kids into it as well.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the problem with a lot of couples. Y'all don't discuss your spiritual beliefs or your religious beliefs. And because of that, y'all are living in turmoil because you're not aligned. You have to be aligned spiritually. Yeah. You have to be, because if you're not aligned spiritually, that messes with your inside. That messes with your DNA. That because you're forcing something based on what you assumed your partner believes in, and you're trying to go along to get along, and inside you're having internal turmoil. And you may not think that. You may lash out, or it may show its butt in.
It comes out in some type of way.
Yes, it comes out in, oh, well, that's not my love language. Don't touch me. No. It's not that. You're having internal turmoil. And because you didn't do your shadow work, your root work, your self-awareness work, you don't understand what that means. So because of that, you're having internal turmoil that you can't pinpoint, and it's being manifested or lived out in a way that is not aligning with the source or the root of the issue.
Yeah. We've overcome assuming in our relationship. Yeah. And it's took a long time. Like, I don't want to discourage anybody looking at us like, oh, you got to go through all of this. But I had known my man since high school. We just, we good, but it's only been a year. Like, I'm not discouraging you at all. The way to fast forward the process, per se, if you're looking for some type of how-to
blueprint, cliff notes.
One, be intentional. Y'all both have to be on the same page. Like, okay, look, we have to have some uncomfortable conversations. But at the end of the day, y'all both are going to get to the root. And y'all are going to be able to say, these are my cards, these are your cards. Yes. What aligns? What do we need to kick out, or what do we need to refine? But until you reveal that, y'all are going to continue to assume, okay, well, he likes it like this, or she likes it like that.
Yes.
And that happy wife, happy life really starts to take a turn on men, especially because it's like, look, I can be in turmoil. I'd rather her not be in turmoil.
Right.
But I'm feeling like this, so much so years go by, and who knows, situations happen. We just saw with what's his name, Ellen DeGeneres DJ.
Oh yes, Twitch.
Yeah. So you never know what's going on internally, especially with black men. Like, communicate with your wives, or with your spouses, your better halves, your partners. Like, communication is huge, but more so than that, is y'all have to maybe just write it down. Like, okay, what are some areas that you would like to discuss that's maybe been a thing? Mm-hmm. What are our things? Now we live together. Okay, what have you seen that you maybe say I don't like, or what don't you like about me? But we really got to a root a lot of that, and it took years because it took situations happening where we would blow up, and then we would hear the truth. Like, dang, well, had you said that 2 years ago,
I could have corrected it. Exactly. And that's the part that I think everybody just wants to talk about. Okay, well, what are your beliefs as far as money? Do you believe in God? Do you want children? What is your 5-year plan? Stop.
Yeah.
Those are Google answers. Anybody can Google that and figure out the type of no. Ask somebody, what about God do you believe? What about children? Like, how do you, if you do want to have kids, how do you want the structure of that to be? How were you raised? What things do you want to bring into how we raise our children together? What things do you not want to incorporate? What are your beliefs as far as their education? Where do you want them to go to school? Do you want the homeschooling, or do you want them to be in private school? Do you want them to go to public? Like, these are things where you have to start getting in depth, especially for our 30 and up crew that's, looking for love, opening their heart, manifesting love.
Yeah.
Hell, half of y'all message us saying you want what we have. This is the blueprint right here.
Yeah.
You have to get deeper, not just asking those surface questions. But when I say y'all need to talk about religion and spirituality, I mean that so wholeheartedly, because there are a lot of people that believe so many different things, and they have a commercial religious belief and they have a commercial spirituality belief.
Yeah.
Because so many people are okay.
So many people are.
So many people are in this space now where they feel like, you know, I believe in this, and I saw such and such do this. I saw that they manifested this. I saw that they, you know, did da 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 da. And I want to start practicing that. And they get this commercial belief because it worked for somebody else and they've adapted that to their belief. That doesn't make it right.
Yeah.
That doesn't make it just. That doesn't make it okay for you. That just means you desire a different outcome of your life and you're willing to try anything. But that doesn't mean that that's your belief. You need to do research. You need to understand these things. You need to go deeper. And because of that, you know, people just have this very general commercial belief.
Yeah.
And you can't. Not when it comes to how you're about to govern your marriage, yourself, your partner, and your kids, and the vibe of your home.
Yeah.
You have to be really deep. And when we had that conversation, y'all, from that day, it pivoted our marriage. The way that we spoke to each other, our intimacy, because I shared what my belief was that was deep down inside of me. And he shared that same belief that was deep down inside of him. And we were like, ooh.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I can take my hair out now
Yeah.
and really tell you this is what I feel, this is what I believe.
Yeah.
And it literally just, it made everything so much better. Like it literally just, it pivoted.
Yeah.
It pivoted.
It was so necessary. Now I feel like when I look at her, I can see her consciousness. Like without getting too deep, it's like I see her. Now I understand in movies, like, oh, I see you. Like, I understand what they mean now.
Yes.
Like, the flesh is cool. My wife is bad. But if you can see her spirit body, oh my God. Like, I ain't even seen it yet, but girl, you got me at flesh. Like, but it's so much more than that. Like, I'm so in tune with you now because I don't have to walk around with having to govern what I say or how I say it, or being at church and like, okay, I have to show that like I'm in this, like how she assumes me to be growing in God in this manner. And again, y'all, this is a conversation that requires a whole nother episode because we want to get into some things, but like she said, we're not in the business of challenging others' beliefs.
Yes.
We know what works for us. We believe what we believe. And that doesn't make us bad people because we're not exposing like our knowledge about that area.
Or gatekeepers. Because I know that there are going to be people that say, why y'all gatekeeping that information? We're not gatekeeping, but we understand the world and the climate that we live in. And anything that we say can and will, because we've seen it in comments, taken out of context, taken to be challenged. And I'm not going to argue with you.
When the ear is ready, you'll listen.
Exactly. And I'm
not going to force it.
Yeah. I'm just not in the business of, doing that because again, what we believe is so much in the 5% that it will require us to go into further deep detail that will probably have the FBI coming for us. So we can't talk about it. Okay? We cannot talk about it. But yeah. And being in sync, religious beliefs, discussing your spirituality, all of that. We have to be in sync in that way.
Y'all got some homework now.
Yeah,
y'all kind of have a little bit of the blueprint, and also be okay with your partner not having those answers.
Right.
Those are areas where y'all need to discover that now shows you where y'all need to build. It's a foundation, and there's so many areas and so many nooks and crannies that have to be filled in. So take your time, be genuine. And as long as y'all have a common goal to make this thing work, y'all will get to the root of what y'all want to keep and what you want to discard.
Yeah. And I think that the one important thing that I really want you guys to take away is, yes, be intentional, but also be open. You have to be open to your partner's identity, their ideas, their ideologies, because sometimes they're not going to align. Sometimes you are not going to be exactly equally yoked, but then that's where grace comes in. That's where that caveat of, okay, so how do we move forward? And I say that because we being me and Bae, when we got together, we had an idea of what we wanted for children, what we wanted as far as, you know, okay, well, after the second kid, you're going to be a stay-at-home mom, because I don't want you working and we have 2 kids that could be getting that nourishment from mom, you know, while I go and work or while I do whatever. You know, we need that grounding for our kids. So I want you, after child number 2, to stay home. So when we found out that I was having my daughter, we knew, we didn't have to discuss it, but he had been telling me this before we even officially dated. He was like, this is what I want for my life. And if that's not something that you want, then we can go ahead and call it, you know, what it is now. But I need you to know that after you have child number 2, like, you're done, like, the workforce is not for you anymore. And when we found out we were pregnant with our daughter, it was like, oh, he was not kidding. So that was my last time working. I literally have not worked for anybody, a company, since we had our daughter. And he was serious about it. And, since, you know,
2018.
Yes. I have been out of the workforce since 2018. My man retired me at the tender age of 21.
That is a flex.
At 26, 27, whatever age I was. Honey, I have not worked.
Listen, don't be thinking I'm out in here rolling now.
You know?
I made sure I did what I had to do, but...
And it's not even that. It's just that was an agreement that we had. And of course, you know, at the time when we had our daughter, we were living with my mom. And she was like, that don't make sense. It doesn't make sense why you, who has the degree, who has the job that pays you the most, would leave your job to let it go to one salary. And I'm like, but the price of daycare is expensive. We have 2 cars. I gave up my car. So we've been on 1 car for the past 4 years because I was a stay-at-home mom. It didn't make sense to have all these extra expenses and extra car note and extra, you know, car insurance, coverage for car insurance. Like, some things just didn't make sense. And although it wasn't conventional for other people, it worked for us because that's what we agreed upon in our marriage. And y'all have to understand that there are going to be times where people will not agree with how you decide to govern your marriage. The root word is your marriage.
Exactly.
Okay? Don't let nobody tell you that what you decide to do in your marriage is crazy. Don't let nobody try to talk you out of what you want to do with your marriage, because what you need to understand is that there are going to be things that you and your spouse decide on that is not going to be in the popular opinion. It's not going to be in the popularity contest. And especially when it comes to some of your practices, some of your beliefs, how you raise your children, all of that. Like, we operate in a gentle parenting. We talk to our children, not at our children. We allow our children to have a voice. We allow them to come to us in a certain way. And for our grandparents and our parents, they've adjusted. But in the beginning, they were like, your children are a little loose. You know, they're a little bit this, they're a little... And over time, when we taught them, and them being our children, how to hone in on those skills, we have gotten compliments from our parents like, wow, your children are very smart. Wow, your children are well-mannered. Wow, your children... Yes, we know, because we give them grace in areas where we weren't given grace as kids, where we weren't given grace growing up, for high school, college, hell, even in adulthood. Like, there were things that, you know, we were taught, ways that we were raised, beliefs, and we're like completely opposite of those things now.
So we're not running no muck over here
at all,
but
they're structured differently than what was being shown as an example to us. So yeah, the key to this, I know y'all have listened to 30 minutes of this now, and you're like, okay, so far they just told me that their life is fucking perfect, and you know, even their kids are A1. No, that's not what we're saying. But what we're telling you guys is the key to being in sync with your partner or your potential, you know, life partner is breaking down those communication barriers, really getting to the root of things and building your friendship. You have to be intentional about all of those things. You have to be intentional about saying, you know what? This is what I believe. And it may be a little off to you, or you may be surprised and they're like, no, that's not off to me at all. I feel the same way.
Exactly.
But you have to be honest. We're too grown to be holding in parts of ourselves. If you pursue this person and they responded to your pursuit, they're obviously interested in you. So before you get in too deep and somebody gets their feelings hurt and y'all sitting here using these TikTok sounds of a begrundled, whatever the word is, woman or man, sit there instead and be intentional about making those connections. Say, you know what? I believe in this. I believe that this is the type of mother that I want to be with my spouse. Yeah. This is the type of wife that I want to be to my spouse. This is what I believe in spiritually or religiously. This is where I see us living. This is how I want us to make our money. And then allow them the floor to say, okay, so this is how I believe. This is what I was raised on. This is what my belief is, my spiritual or religious belief. This is how I want to raise our kids, or I don't want kids. And y'all find a medium that y'all can agree on, or you decide, you know what? No, this isn't for us. And that's literally what being in sync is.
It sounds so simple, but all of the most powerful things in this world are basic. It's adults that complicate things. A relationship is not hard, but you have to understand that y'all are both going to have different things that you consider a relationship. Yeah. But if y'all can get to the root of that as quickly as possible, oh my God, you're going to save so much time, because now you're not walking around assuming or miscommunicating. Like, you'll be able to read your partner based on, oh, I remember when they said that they believed this or they wanted to run a structure like this. So I can tell I've been off today. And now you know how to be more intentional in your partner's life. It's little things, but those little things add up over time so much. So I was just telling Britnee the other day. I'm sorry, I was telling Ben the other day, like a goal of mine was to love her as hard as she loved me, because she brought me up the hill, y'all. Like, from high school to college, like,
and vice versa.
Later on in life, but I mean, you kind of earned it, because after all of that, I don't want to sit down and eat me a whole pizza too.
No, you did.
I mean, like, for you to be in this place now, it's a magnificent thing to see. I can't even lie.
He's just being nice because he got some cutty. Go for that round two, y'all. Don't let him fool. Don't maybe it. That's what it is. Just say it.
I try not to go on a tangent, but I really love you, man. I really do.
I love you too. He's so fun.
The camera's on. Careful. The mic is on. Like.
I mean, y'all can hear some little sounds. You'll be all right.
They gotta pay for that.
I cannot. Y'all can come take him. I'm about to put him on eBay.
Ain't nobody taking me from you. You're trapped. Not. You forget that you're trapped.
Whatever. Anyways, y'all, yes, being in a relationship can be this easy. I'm sorry to tell y'all, because I know that some of y'all have been in and out of many relationships just like me. I have literally been in more relationships and talking to people. I think my talking game, like the whole dating, like we talking, but we don't have no titles. Man, I've dated a lot of people, y'all. Yeah. A lot of people. Men and women, a lot. It's been chaotic. But
and half the time, I bet you ain't even know that you were talking to them like that. It's just your character. Everybody's like, oh, she flirting with me.
There have been times, we're not going to get into the story because it's bad, y'all. I was green. And if you don't know what that is, go look it up in the Urban Dictionary. I was green, guys.
Behind the ears.
It was bad. I literally was in a relationship with somebody because I woke up to a relationship request on Facebook. This is a true story. I swear to God, y'all can get my mom on the phone and she will vouch. I woke up, we talked on the phone, we met on Facebook, talked on the phone. The next day, I woke up going to high school. Mind you, he was in college. He's a grown-up, okay? He's a grown-up. He was a grown-up. I'm in high school, and I wake up to a relationship request. I don't know what we discussed the night before because I had dinner with my mom. He was on mute. He was talking about himself the whole time. We were on the phone for 4 hours, guys. I swear to God, probably one of the, not my most favorite relationships, because I wasn't in it. I literally felt bad. I felt bad because he was head over heels and I was like, damn, I did it again. I made a nigga fall for me that I really wasn't into, and now I'm in it, and I'm like,
the gift and the curse.
Oh, I just have to smile and make them feel loved. And it wasn't faking because I genuinely loved company. I love people. So it wasn't that I wasn't equally, or not, I wasn't equally, but I loved them back because they were a person. I didn't mind saying I love you. I say I love you to anybody, you know, but there is a different level of my love that you get when I am in love with your spirit versus I just love you as a person. I love everybody as a person. In that moment, I loved him as a person, and he took it as, no, I'm in love with you.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not in love with you. And then he got the boot. Well, he gave me the boot because of my husband. Again, we're not gonna go into that story. But there was a situation that happened, and he broke up with me.
And that's how you get in sync, fellas.
Period.
You remove the problem.
Yeah, so that was that. But yeah, the guy actually was degrading my body, like making remarks about my stretch marks. Damn near jumped off the couch, like, "Oh, look at your." And I said, "Child, you don't want to have a baby with me then, because this is light work. Like, there's 3 stretch marks, and you flipping out over 3 stretch marks, baby. When I have a child, you gonna be able to see the map, the world map on my stomach. I promise you."
Bro, that ain't nothing but extra grip.
Enough.
Well,
Jesus help me. But yeah, don't look at me like that.
I'm sorry.
You nasty.
I'm sorry.
Y'all, if y'all are listening to this on the podcast, I need you to go to the YouTube and watch this and scroll so you can see how this man was just looking at me, okay? That's why I have 2 kids, and that's why he had to get snipped, because Jesus. Anyways, yes, be in sync with your partner, and I promise you, it will be, even if it's just a period of time for a relationship, it will be the best relationship of your life. Because we literally are so in tune with one another that we'll be like feeling away, and he'll be in another room and be like, "What's going on?" Like, walk into the room like, "I felt your energy, like, what's going on?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Nothing." And he's like, "So we're gonna try this again."
Yeah.
What's going on? And then I'll start crying and tell him what's going on.
Yeah.
And these are like we've had true moments where we will be in separate places, and it'll be a text or a call like, "You good? What's going on?" And then it's followed by a, "Okay, so I've been thinking da 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 da," and that we don't even have to be around each other, in each other's presence, to feel each other's energy. That, like, we are the definition of a twin flame.
Yeah.
And that is the level that I wish for everybody in a relationship, for everybody moving into a marriage, because that is very, 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 very important. Being in sync with your partner is so important. Being in sync with your kids is so important, because no matter what, you have someone that has your back, your front, your sides, your inside, your best interest. And that is a beautiful feeling. It's not necessarily a dependency, but it's an assurity to know that I have a person.
Yeah.
And my person ain't gonna switch up because of the weather. My person ain't gonna switch up because of the recession. My person ain't gonna switch up because, you know, the trend now is big butts and small titties, and then it's gonna switch to big titties and small butts. You know, he's not gonna switch up, or she's not gonna switch up on me. She's gonna love me through and through, no matter how big, small, tall, short, old, dementia, memory loss, whatever. You know, they're gonna love me because we're in sync and we are together. Like, we're one. We are flowing, and that's it. We flow.
Yeah.
And I wish that on everybody. Again, I really, really do, because it's beautiful. Like, it's bliss. And I know from people on the outside looking in, it's like, "Oh my God, y'all are so perfect." We're not. We do have moments where we're like, But the difference is, when you're in sync and when you're in flow, you catch it quicker than you would when you're not in sync and when you're not flowing. Like,
because things fester when y'all not in sync.
Yes.
And then it just flows, and y'all got to do all this deconstruction just to get back to the root.
Arguing for no reason, withholding the coochie, and the ain't nobody got time.
Like,
Ain't nobody got time. We too
grown.
See?
Oh, stop, yo! You gotta stop.
No, this is not fun. Oh, see, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's sometimes like, we're sober right now.
It's creepy. No, you're sober. We're not that in sync.
So in real life, this is Britnee and Dorian. Welcome to the party. Welcome to why we are that couple. But no, like, y'all, when we be like on something like a gummy CBD, it's a whole different vibe. Like, we literally at a point where, like, all right, bro, let's just stop talking. And then we'll do a body language. It's like, damn, we can't even sit next to each other.
Go in the other room.
You know, like, our body languages be in sync. Like, damn. And it's so what's so beautiful about that is when you are in sync and then your kids pick up on it and then they become in sync with you. It's literally like God is working overtime because our kids are in sync with us. Like we'll all have a vibe. We literally have insiders separately with our kids and as a tribe, as a unit. And y'all, when our kids get in on the action, like, oh my gosh, like the little moments that we have as a family, it's so many core memories that we're making with our kids because it's become fun. Now, don't get it twisted. They know who mama is, they know who daddy is, but there is a level of respect. There is a level of fun. There is still even a level of intimacy that we have with our kids, and not no creepy. We on that Alabama shit now, you know. But we love our kids, and it's reciprocated. Like we have that in sync and in tuneness with our kids, and it's so beautiful when you and your kids can be one, you and your spouse can be one, and then you are fulfilled internally.
Yeah,
like
you feel whole.
Yes, like I'm not waiting on you to fill my cup. My cup is full. I'm ready to give out to y'all so y'all can go into the world and spread your light to other people. Like we are flowing. We're cups flowing in one another, through one another, and it's lit. Just work on it, y'all. Just take the pen, take the notes, and don't just write them down in your phone. Don't just make it a meme or a quote post. Really live by that, because when you are intentional about these things, even if you're single, I have to talk to my single people. Even if you're single, be intentional about being the best version of yourself for your partner. That means dealing with your childhood traumas. That means defining what you want in a partner. That means doing your homework to be the best version of yourself, whatever that looks like. So when your partner comes, you're not expecting them to fill voids. You're not expecting them to fill your cup. You're ready to pour into them. And I'm not saying go into it being a servant. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying go into it ready to be at his beck and call, or men ready to sit there and spoil and make her a passenger princess, although it's appreciated. That's not what I'm encouraging. I'm encouraging that you be 100%. Don't come into a relationship wanting to do 50-50. That shit is dead. This is not the 80s. This is not the 60s. This is not the 70s. Hell, this ain't even the 30s, 40s, or 50s. This is 2023. And in 2023 and beyond, we are no longer coming into a relationship 50-50. We're coming 100-100. That's it. Because your 50 is not my 50. Period. Your 50 can be my definition of 20%. And then we're going to spend the rest of our relationship arguing. No, I don't want to do that. You come healed or closer to healed than you are damaged, broken, and traumatized. And then we'll be able to nurture each other from there. Nurture each other. Not one person nurturing the other one because you came 100% in all areas besides your traumas. No. Deal with your traumas. Go to, that was New York. I'm so sorry. Deal with your traumas. Go to therapy and get that work in. Find your tribe. Find your friends outside of your partner, your A1 friends, and keep your circle knit tight. And then pursue somebody else. But you got to make sure you're good first, because we are too grown to be coming into any type of relationship, friendship, marriage, or anything half done. Don't nobody eat half done chicken. Okay? You need to be a very cooked, nice, expensive Popeyes piece of chicken, okay? Popeyes, because we be spent $20 for a wing, and you know it. Don't nobody, you want that cheap shit? Go to KFC.
God help.
You want that top tier? You go to KFC, okay? I mean, Popeyes. We don't go to KFC for top tier behavior. We don't. That's it. That's all I have to say, y'all. I know we were supposed to end this like forever ago because Bay wrapped it up, but
that was a TED Talk, girl. I just learned something.
I'm just saying, like y'all gotta do this, and I'm glad y'all got to like see on the video and feel our in syncness. Like we literally just gave you the game, and then you got a real live example.
Like you can't make it up.
You can't.
We say, I don't know how many times we say that a day. It's like
we get videos now, like, bro, we can't make this shit up.
Yeah, like,
all day.
Because if it was scripted, you'd be able to tell. I think we've been out there enough for y'all to tell our personality, people that really been riding for us.
Yeah.
But like, ain't nobody sitting here trying to fake the funk, trying to be this perfect couple for social media. We actually, to be honest, if you want the real, that's why y'all on the podcast. If we had it our way, we wouldn't be on social media.
Period.
The platform took off on its own, and we saw that
unintentionally, unplanned.
Yeah. and we we didn't take advantage of it. We saw an opportunity to be able to, okay, so these are the things that we went through. There are people in the comments saying that they're going through this.
Yes.
Oh, okay, so we can actually be a help now.
Yes. So
that's what spurred off the spin-off to the podcast and the YouTube videos. But you know, we gonna show up for y'all because we show up for ourselves.
Absolutely. So, and y'all have challenged us to actually be intentional about improving our marriage, because there are times where the students or our internet family has actually become the teachers, and we're like, hold up, you practice this. Like one girl commented, or I hate calling y'all girls, y'all grown ass women. One woman commented and she said, no, it's not happy wife, happy life. It's happy house, happy spouse. And we were like,
yeah, that's
it. That's the one. And sometimes we can get to the comments, but there's so many because we have so many platforms that we're on. But when we do see some of those comments, and I am very intentional about reading every single messages, from the request messages to I read every single message and respond to.
Inside a request,
baby. Okay, I do all of that. Jesus. I go through every single message. There is not one message that I haven't seen. Now I will tell y'all, there are some times when there are some messages that I refuse to respond to because it's doing too much, or it's just not appropriate to answer. So those messages I will delete. So some people that have sent me messages that you have not, or sent us messages that you have not gotten a response to, is because what you asked me was either already available on the page had you just gone and looked, and I'm not finna keep repeating myself, or it was a moment where you asked me something or did something that I felt was too much, and I don't have the heart to be like, you're doing too much, because I get it, that wasn't your intention, but it was too much. It was too personal, or it was too this, or it was too that, and I was like, I'm swiping delete. Yeah. Don't worry, I do it to text messages too, swiping delete. But
it's too many messages, so I just stop it not looking at them.
Nah, I get to everybody because sometimes y'all give me feedback and information. Like, I know this one girl, I didn't mean to swipe. I was half asleep and high, so forgive me, whoever sent me this message. I know it was a Black woman. I know that for sure. Very beautiful in the picture. Forgot who you were, forgot everything, and forgot to even put it out there to be intentional. So hopefully you hear this. But she said, hey, why don't you add captions to your videos? And she was like, it's just a suggestion. And I meant to click it to read it and respond, and I deleted it on accident. I pressed the wrong button once I got into the message, but I started incorporating that, and it has really helped people understand what we're saying, because sometimes I talk really fast.
Sometimes.
Don't do that. But that was a helpful piece of information. So we do take suggestions. We do take constructive criticism.
Oh, yeah.
We take all of that. So we appreciate y'all, and y'all have helped us grow as people. You've helped us grow as a couple. Hell, you've helped grow our platform. Like, we wouldn't even be on the podcast or be here if it wasn't for y'all. So we appreciate y'all so much. This literally wasn't anything that we planned. We did not plan to be social media anything, but we here.
Yeah.
And we love it here. And we love y'all. All the newbies, all the people that have been around since the first video to however many videos now. Y'all are the goats.
300.
Y'all are the goats. And when we hit the jackpot and make lots of money, I promise you guys, we will be doing like crazy giveaways, give back to our people, all of our top fans on Facebook that be riding with us, coming to our defense in the comments. We really want to do something major for y'all. And we mean that, because there will be times I'm like, damn, this one comment got like 50 comments. Like, what is this thread? And I'm like, oh, a top fan, a OG tribe member then took the reins, and they were like, cut, you not finna come for my people. And I'm like, you know what? I love y'all. Because y'all be doing it, and I'm like, thank you, because I didn't have it in me to go back and forth. But thank you we love y'all. Like, legitly, I wake up at 3, 4, 5 in the morning just checking my messages like a little kid, because I love y'all. Like, I thoroughly enjoy the community that we have been introduced to through this lovely social media platform. So thank you guys so much. That's it.
I'm good. I'm glad we were able to share this. This is gonna help somebody, even if it helps one person. I say this the whole time.
Just one.
Because you can be the one that sparks something else. So you can be the one that starts a podcast.
Yeah, you can be the generational curse breaker. Just that one. It only takes one to transform the village. So we thank you guys. And we will see you on the next episode.
Peace.
Bye.